This is going to be a Saturn retrograde reading. If it's meant for you, it's meant for you. You know, I was sitting here having a very quiet moment, drinking my coffee, and I suddenly said, I need to sit down and film. For whatever reason, I was drawn to turn on the camera and just talk to you a little bit about what's coming up starting June 30th. Saturn retrograde is going to be a time of real transformation, basically a kick in the pants. Now, if you've been feeling the nudge lately, or what I've been saying to some people is sort of the badgering. I don't know why I've seen a badger energy, but like a badgering, like a push, a nudging, you know, to make some moves or to have some talks, whatever it may be for you. This energy is what you're going to encounter in the next while. So this is June 30th to November 15th. And I just want to make a point that you don't have to be afraid of this energy. I know a lot of people get afraid of retrogrades. Mercury retrograde is something that affects us kind of more on the daily, whereas the Saturn retrograde is not so much about disrupting our daily life. It's about looking at the bigger picture and unresolved issues and business that we need to take care of. So Saturn energy in general is the father of the zodiac or astrology. That's why when we look at the zodiac sign of Capricorn, we see very strong father energy. You know, this is rules and regulations and guidelines. You know, I always say that Capricorns, they dot their I's, they cross their T's, they know every stat, every number, every angle of everything, you know. But the one thing about Saturn is that, you know, it does have a bit of fear in it because Capricorns by nature have fear of moving forward. They know all the stats, they know all the information. They just have to implement it. And it's the same thing with Aquarius. You know, Aquarius energy in regards to Saturn, I find that Aquarius placements have trouble really shutting the door on something, because they know if they shut the door, they're done. And that scares them. So, you know, Aquarius people or placements will gather all the information. They're very smart. They're very intuitive. But when it comes to actually shutting that door, there's that fear. So essentially, this retrograde in Saturn is going to make us address the things that we don't want to address or that we've been avoiding. And so the themes here, of course, are karma and justice, and doing the work we essentially need to do. So, you know, again, this is going to bring up unresolved feelings or situations. This could be family, this could be friends, this could be relationships. And, you know, it's going to ask us, where is our life headed? What are our goals? What is it that we want, you know? And on top of that, you know, we have to be accountable. So when I'm thinking about the energies that I posted about yesterday, if you haven't seen that little video compilation that I did, maybe go have a look. Here are some of the things on that list. Fear of losing identity, fear of what's next. You know, I had somebody graciously share with me or allow me to share this statement that they're afraid of who they will become. You know, will they remember where they came from? Will they still be humble? Or will they just move past everything and kind of wash away the past? And I think that's the fear of letting go of old stories, old memories, people, relationships. It's okay to put yourself first, just so you know, okay? So, you know, I think that we have to look at why we've been afraid and now sort of take that leap. I've also noticed a lot of emotion. People are crying a lot lately, you know, purging and needing to surrender, as well as the desire to clean or organize within the home or office, wherever. This is basically like, okay, I got to get everything in order. You know, I've got to prepare myself basically for the next energies. And I've also seen this nostalgia. You know, I mentioned it before if you're moving forward, but like, whoa, the nostalgia and the holding on even tighter in regards to love and relationships. You know, I was reminded of Bridgerton, I burn for you. You know, that kind of energy where it's like, oh, hot and intense and hard to let go of. but putting ourselves first is key in all of these situations. I've also seen a lot of rainbow energy, meaning, everything's going to be all right. We will have the abundance. The temperance card, where it's telling us patience and forgiveness, and that something is really brewing and you just can't put your finger on it, but it is there. So anyways, I would just invite you to think about where you want to go, what problems need to be resolved, and just know that you're more supported than you realize. The positive things about Saturn retrograde is that with love and relationships, lingering problems will resolve in whatever way they're meant to. There will be something that is resolved there, okay? And in regards to career, you may have opportunities that you didn't even realize you have. And you're going to look at what is your work-life balance, or what does it all mean to you, So I guess at this point, all we can do is look for the opportunities, allow things to resolve themselves, and again, to implement the knowledge that we have learned. I always say that knowledge is power, but what we do with that knowledge is even more powerful. So some dates that we should note in regards to this Saturn retrograde. August 19th is when Jupiter squares Saturn. And this is going to be tension because Jupiter is all about growth, expansion, and good luck. And of course, Saturn is going to be the restrictions. So, this is basically maybe us hitting a wall, or stalling a little bit and feeling a bit of frustration. But then that will get better around September 18th when we have a solar eclipse in Pisces. And that's going to kind of pick everything up. It's going to allow us to cut ties with things that are necessary. And if you feel at that time you need to end some things, that's the time to do it. Now, September 25th, we will have Pluto in a semi-square to Saturn. And basically, that's going to allow us to break free from the past. So, really, what is the theme of this entire retrograde? It's breaking free from the past. So I would invite you to look into your astrology chart to see where this is going to affect you the most. Me, as a Sagittarius rising, it is actually affecting my family relationships, which actually is no surprise to me right now. So it's basically going to help me reevaluate some boundaries and, look at how I want to move forward, right? So anyways, let's take a look at some overall themes and messages for this reading and for this Saturn retrograde. We have, look at it, time to go. You cannot make that up. I've been shuffling those cards since the moment I started talking, which was basically like almost 8 minutes ago. Sorry for the ramble, but so many things that I wanted to talk about. So time to go. It's time to let things end, whatever that may be for you. Face the things that you need to face in order to bring in new energy. And here we have the consequence of fear. Wow. Okay, already deep reading. Okay, contraction, the frequency of fear, self-fulfilling prophecy. You have to be so careful with feeding your fear because there is a consequence to fear. The consequence to fear is more fear and more issues popping up. Okay, and let's take a look here. What else we need to know? Overall theme and message. The crown, source, point, and attainment. It's kind of interesting. I know that this shows Neptune at the top, a lot of Pisces energy there, but it's kind of interesting actually, because there is a lot of that Pisces energy, which is intuition and dreaminess and, spiritual enlightenment, right? That's why we're talking about source here, right? Or attainment. But I also look at this picture and I do see someone that is very fatherly. And I think of Saturn and I kind of think of where we're trying to meet the two energies. We're trying to meet the spiritual with the logical. It's kind of interesting to think about the fact that we are spiritual beings trying to live a human experience. We can't forget that we do have to live a 3D life and balance that with our spirituality. So it's not always easy. right? But we try to navigate the best way we can. So what I think we're going to do for this reading is we're going to take a look at the energies right now, at the start of this retrograde. And then we're going to go into the after tarot energies, which is going to have a look at what's coming in the next few months, okay? So let's start off with I want to say a few things at once. What is in our headspace right now? What's going on in the head? What are we thinking about? And we have here the Five of Pentacles. You're feeling left out in the cold. You're struggling with negative thoughts, possibly. Drawing attention to weaknesses. The desire to trust and take a leap of faith to make a move, but afraid, And I put that actually in the video compilation that I made yesterday. There was this person kind of taking a leap, and I said in the caption something along the lines of, how do you know it's not the best thing that ever happened to you? Like, how do you know? You don't know. It's just fear that tells you that you want to stay in the old energy, even though you don't like the old energy, right? And so with that, we have here the Ten of Cups. You want the happiness. You want the abundance. There's the rainbow. I think I mentioned anyways that I was seeing rainbows, and that was in the video, again, that I posted yesterday. Check that one out. It's called Kelly Lorraine's Notes. It was just some observations that I've been making over the last few days. And here is the Eight of Pentacles. So there's work to do. There is the work to do. Okay. So now let's take a look in our hearts. I might need to move these up. I'm sorry. Bear with me. Okay. Let's take a look at what's in our heart. The Six of Wands. The Six of Wands is recognition and victory. So, this is an energy that kind of says, I want to be recognized. I want that victory. I want love. I want love. But there's this element of spying or observing, and you got to be so careful of that, because that can be like energetic chasing. And I always talk about this. You have to be so careful with the obsessive thinking or the watching on social media or posting things, to get a short-term gain from another person. It also invites us to, to learn and to study, to be logical and decisive in our heart. And there's the King of Pentacles, which is so interesting because that energy is very Capricorn. King of Pentacles is very slow and methodical. It doesn't happen overnight. There is abundance to be had, but it really, truly is a journey of trusting the process. And I always say, what else can we do other than trust and take it day by day and step by step? Now, you can go from point A to point B easily if you continue the journey. There's always going to be detours along the way, right? But we have to learn from those detours. Like, we can't keep making the same errors, every time. We've got to learn and implement that knowledge, as I was saying at the very beginning. And with this, we have here the Eight of Swords. So, okay, I think that there is a lot of confusion in the heart space. You feel like this is it, whatever it is for you right now, this is it. But there's a lot of overthinking to it. Because if it really was it, okay, there wouldn't be spying or observing or trying to rush the process, or this illusion of entrapment here, feeling a bit helpless at times. And I understand that. I really do. Overthinking does not help anything. And this kind of reminds me of the saying, that the longest journey is from the head to the heart. It's because we can't get out of our head. And I mean, Capricorn energy in general is one of the most overthinking signs, in my opinion, in the zodiac. Because again, they stay up late. They are workaholics. They are looking at every detail of everything. And they're spiritual. They're definitely spiritual. They're so into it, but then they have this fear of moving forward, So let's see, what is the spiritual side of things right now? So we looked at sort of head, heart, now spiritual matters. Okay, the Hanged Man energy. And we have been seeing the Hanged Man card all the time in my lives, readings. This energy suggests that you're feeling like you're in limbo, like, you know, you're stuck and you're looking for that enlightenment. You might even be taking a pause, trying to figure out what's next. And that's okay. That's okay to take a pause, but you can't stay in that energy forever, is what I'm saying. And let's see what else. The death card, death and rebirth. You know what I always find interesting about this card is that it shows the lovers with these flames on the wings. It doesn't have to be about love, but essentially this is death and rebirth and total transformation. Things are going to shift, you know. It's almost like that I burn for you kind of vibe that I was talking about. Okay, let's see what else. The Knight of Wands, passion in the pants. So I think spiritually there's this desire to move forward. There's definitely heat and intensity here. The thing is, though, is that that energy has to maintain itself, because the Knight of Wands can ride in very quickly and leave just as fast. And the Six of Swords says we're striving for peace. You know, we want peace, calmer waters. This could even be travel. You might even be thinking in the next few months that maybe you need to travel and get away and gather yourself, you know, recalibrate, if that makes sense. Okay, let's take the After Tarot. And the After Tarot is basically the tarot demonstrating, you know, after energies. So let's see what's to come during this retrograde. So let's kind of go back to that headspace and see. We had that Five of Pentacles, right? And the King of Cups. You know, it's so interesting. This is about getting in tune with your emotions. I just said the longest journeys from the head to the heart. I feel like this cold energy is going to warm up because the emotions are going to flow. I like seeing that. Okay, that Fool card here. Yeah, interesting. So Six of Cups is all about nostalgia and inner childhood wounds. But in this aspect, it's almost like the celebration or the wish coming true. Kind of leaving it behind. Leaving behind those old stories. Coming back out of the nostalgia, if that makes sense. Now let's take a look at this Ten of Cups. The Page of Swords. You know, we had the Page of Swords right here in the heart. The Page of Swords is, again, about being logical and decisive and learning. And maybe this is saying, you know what? I'm confident in myself that I don't have to spy and observe or chase. Can focus on myself. And there's the Emperor. See, look, we had the Eight of Pentacles, and the Emperor says making power moves. Again, we're here to play chess, not checkers. This is the time that we can't go laterally, left, right, backwards, whatever. It's got to be a move that's going to take us forward. Otherwise, what's the point? So now going to the heart space, that Six of Wands, we talked about that recognition and that victory. Yeah, see, things are going to shift. Wheel of Fortune. I would just say don't fight the shift. You can't fight the shift. Now let's see the Page of Swords here in the heart space. Okay, so instead of focusing possibly on a person or a relationship, this is telling you not to sit on the sidelines with yourself. It's never the right time to make a move. This is basically saying, I'm making the move. I'm going to do what I got to do. And the King of Pentacles, there you go, the Ace of Pentacles. It's like starting a whole new cycle, because the King energy, right? Now we're at the Ace here, and the Ace is a tangible new beginning, nourishment, new home, new job, new relationship, new things coming in. And there you go. We talked about that peace energy, finding peace in your heart from that overthinking and that overanalysis or that illusion of mental entrapment. Okay, so we've seen some sixes, which is all about equal giving and receiving and balance. And spiritually, that Hanged Man energy, you know, it's so fascinating. It's like somebody's going to finally get out of the funk, out of the grief, out of the sadness, out of the disappointment, and recognize that there are two cups right here to be had. And that's lovely. Okay. And with that, let's see. Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles is interesting, an offer. It's also studying and learning and implementation. I feel like there's going to be an offer to upgrade, to ascend. This could even be in a relationship. Okay, Knight of Wands. Ooh, I love it. Brand new emotional beginning. Look at that heart being given. The cup is overflowing with love, self-love, and possibly even romantically. Love this. Okay. The Nine of Pentacles, feeling good in your own skin. The grapes here, you know, it's harvesting. You know, funny, there's a snail. You might not be able to see it. There's a little snail here. And I put a picture of a snail in the video compilation yesterday because here's what's happening. The energy is almost contradictory because the days are moving so fast, yet the process is moving so slow. And I would describe it as the energy needs to catch up. You may have a knowing, you might, you know, feel like you're making changes, and you are, don't doubt yourself, but everything has to catch up. It's just that people want instant gratification and change, and it doesn't really happen like that. You know, we have to allow things to catch up. And I'll use the analogy of relationships. I always tell people, more than likely, you are 10 steps ahead of your person, especially in these deep soul connections. You're 10 steps ahead, okay? So if that's the case, then you have to allow the energy to catch up. You can't force it to. You know, like a garden, you can't go busting out the Miracle-Gro and think that you're going to have flowers tomorrow or fruit on trees tomorrow. It just doesn't work that way. And the more you try to force it, the more it's going to stay behind you. You're going to push it completely away from you. It's going to run away. And so we don't want to make the process even longer. We want it to be at the right pace, you know, meaning movement in whatever way that is. It can be slowly, whatever. Everybody's on a different timeline. My point is we don't want it to go backwards. And that's what I was saying to you about the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles, again, you can go from point A to point B. It all depends on the detours you take along the way. How many times you want to revisit something, how many rounds you want to go. So, I mean, allow the energies to catch up. And if, in regards to a relationship, that energy is going to level up, great. If it doesn't catch up, that's okay. It doesn't affect you because you're consistently making the moves that you need to make. You will have what you want or better, but you have to believe that. You know, I think a lot of people don't see or know that they can have better. They don't necessarily have the foresight. And where I'm coming from when I'm telling you this is I'm telling it to you from hindsight. I too once thought, could anything be better than this? And I can assure you that yes, it can. It just requires work, effort, accountability. And so I come back to what I was saying to you about Saturn retrograde in general. You know, this is a bit of a kick in the pants. This is saying, what is the work that we need to do? We need to face things that haven't been addressed. You need to decide where your life is headed. And I don't mean you have to know for 1,000%. I'm just saying set some intentions for what you would like to happen. And if you're fighting this shift, you're going to be reminded over and over and over again what's not moving forward. So I send you lots of love. Let's take another card here, or let's take 3 cards for some last messages for each. Let's go to the headspace. What's a message for the headspace right now? Expand your horizons. Get out of the energy that something has to just be this, and you know that it's this. And that's great that you know. But remember that energy is fluid, which means anything is possible. Anything can change. It can change tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. You have no way of knowing until you cross that bridge. So you need to expand your horizons. So in your heart space here, we have finding sanctuary, opening to your spiritual source. There you go. It's almost like we are looking at 2 messages right now that talk about opening your mind, your heart, your perspective. That's something else I said in the video yesterday. Perspective. It's all about perspective. And let's take a look spiritually. Uncovering treasure. Beneath the surface lies great bounty. That's you having your abundance. The question is, are you ready for it? I really hope this resonates with you. As always, I appreciate your likes, your comments, your subscribes. If you'd like to do a personal reading with me, the link is in my bio. Thank you again, and I wish you an amazing Saturn retrograde.